welcome to Ted's Outdoors HoodCraft Survival. Today I'm going to be going over my BushCraft kit that I carry over my shoulder, my bottle kit, and just a couple things that I carry on my body when I'm in the woods usually. And so we're going to start off with my BushCraft kit over my shoulder. Let's start out with the outside. This is a leather strap. The reason I upgraded to leather is so that I can strop a knife. If you don't know what stropping is, that's where you sharpen your knife or polish the edge with leather. And so you can do it with various items, but I think leather works the best. And so this strap is set up so that I can use it to strop my knife, and I do that when I need to, more of an emergency. And then also on the outside, along with that leather, is some patches. I have two from the Hidden Woodsman. Malcolm Coder sent them to me. I think that was very cool, so I put them on here. Then I have Nylon lab. Some people know what that means, some people won't. Okay, so after I go over the contents of this bag, I'm going to go over the mentality of it and why I carry it and things like that. So that'll be at the end of the video. So on this right pouch here, on this right side, there's an orange piece or orange lanyard piece of paracord that I could use for different things, but it's to signify that this is a first aid kit. And so this is full of medical supplies, first aid kit. I'm not going to go through it all, but I have, different various items for patching up small wounds, and a bar of soap for washing my hands, some hand sanitizer, different things, and a lot of that can be used for fire starting in an emergency. And then over here is the fun side. I don't have any paracord on here so that people know it's just miscellaneous stuff. I have a ferro rod for fire starting. This is made by Light My Fire. And then the reason I carry a striker with it is for a redundancy, and it has a whistle. So you have a whistle on there. And then one of my favorite pieces of kit, I'm just going to set these down here, is my flint and steel kit. So I'll do some footage for you guys so you can see how to use this. But flint and steel is pretty straightforward. You have something like char cloth or a cotton material, and then you have flint and a piece of high carbon steel. I usually carry a high carbon steel knife so I can get sparks off the spine, but I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's made by Esee, and it has a bow drill divot in it as a socket for my bow drill. And then I have this orange lanyard on here so I don't lose it, and that kind of absorbs the heat when I'm using it for the bow drill. So you can just get sparks. You probably won't be able to see that, but sparks. And I can ignite char cloth, which I carry in there, and I can use this tin to make char cloth also. I'm just going to set that down there. And so this is the main fire kit part. Then emergency tinder. This is called Wet Fire. All the label has been rubbed off just from it been sitting in there. Wet Fire is a very good source of emergency fire because it'll light even when it's wet. And you guys can look that up. It's a very cool product. So it's emergency stuff. And then I have a mini Bic lighter. So Bic lighter, almost everybody uses one of these from time to time. Instant flame, which is good. And then I keep it taped up so that it doesn't release any of the fluid on accident by pushing down the plunger. So I just keep that sort of taped up so I don't lose any of the fluid. And that's everything in this side pocket. And then of course this side pocket is all first aid stuff that I don't really want to go over. That should be personalized to your needs, your first aid kit. So now I'm going to take you guys through each compartment on here and talk you through it. So in this front compartment, it has a zipper on here that I put paracord ties on just so I can hold or unzip it a little bit more easier. The main piece, I call this a gather bag. This is just a mesh nylon bag that I collect tinder and wild edibles and things. I just put them in this bag. I can hang this from my belt or something. So when I'm gathering tinder or wild edibles, I just drop them in here, and then I can kind of pull it tight, and it's kind of cool. So it's just something useful to have, and I can always dry things in here because it's kind of open and airy. And then another thing I have is a signal mirror. I just made a little cloth bag for it. So a signal mirror is to sort of look at the sun and then angle it to signal for help, signal for all sorts of different things, signal people using the sun, which we don't have right now, to signal people over long distances. It was kind of an emergency type piece of kit, and so I just always kind of carry that on me just in case. And then for cordage, I have Bankline. I don't know what number this is, but it's the thinnest, I think. This can hold like quite a bit of poundage, and I use this for a lot of small tasks because the paracord is expensive, and so I like to carry Bankline for most things. I also have paracord in here. And then I have a compass. This compass has always been true. It's also got the temperature on it, so temperature gauge and then compass. It's kind of a nice thing to have. Very helpful, I think. And then as a backup to my other whistle, I have another one. This one's a lot louder, and it's orange, so I don't lose it. And whenever I go out with a group of people on a hike or backpacking or whatever, I try and make sure that people always have these. And if they don't, then I have extra in my bag that I'll hand out to people. And then I have orange marking tape, trail marking tape. So this is for kind of an emergency. If I think I'm getting lost, I'll start marking my trail, and so that I don't backtrack. I'm constantly moving it in one direction, and then people can find me using this orange tape if they know I have it. And then I have a magnifying glass. Magnifying glass is a good way to start a fire, campfire, things like that. This is from selfrelianceoutfitters.com. Dave Canterbury made. And so it's just a magnifying glass. And it's very good for fire starting, very easy once you learn how to use it and know that, you know, the sun is a very powerful thing for fire starting. Solar energy is extremely powerful if you know how to harness it. And so that's a ×7 lens, I think, from Self Reliance Outfitters. And that's the complete front pocket. And so that's just what I carry in the front pocket that I can easily get to. Okay, so before I continue on with this pouch kit right here, I'm going to go over my bottle kit just to liven things up a little bit. This has a paracord sling holster that I made for it. I completely made this myself. Has buckles right here and here, 3 buckles, and then shoulder strap so I can wear this over my shoulder. And I always have my canteen because water is incredibly important in the woods and everywhere in everyday life. This is a clean canteen 40 ounce. I've had this for almost a year now, actually over a year. It's a very good canteen, stainless steel. The cap comes off and it's by itself, so I put orange lanyard on there so if I drop it I can find it again. And I can boil water in this. And that's why I like metal, aluminum, stainless steel, whatever, titanium, is so that I can boil water in it, because water is incredibly important. So if I undo one of those buckles, and this buckle too, I can take out my cup. This cup is made by GSI Outdoors, and I have a small sponge thing to clean it out and clean my bottle. Just put that in there. It's made by GSI Outdoors. I've used this for quite a while now. I've also had this for over a year. Served me very well. Has some battle scars to it. So does the canteen. And I've definitely boiled plenty of water in both of these over the past year. And it's just a really good design, I think, to have both the cup and the bottle, and then this bottle holder. And so that's what I carry. Got this sponge. That's what I carry for water collection, water purification, and so that I can boil water. It's very good to boil your water because it kills 100% of pretty much everything in it. Yeah, and it's fun just to kind of carry something that you've made yourself. So I made this kit to suit my needs, and it's kind of cool that I carry, something that I've made myself instead of just buying it. So that's what I carry. Carry it right over my shoulder. Nylon sling. I have the leather one on my other bag. So that's sort of what I carry for bottle, water, That way I always have water on me. Then I have more water purification in my kit that I'll show you guys right now. So for the last compartment, in the main compartment, I have a Sawyer squeeze water filtration system. Easy to use, unscrew cap, fill water from a bladder, fill bag with water. Yeah, you get the point. Anyway, it's a bag for holding water, so I have an extra 16 ounces along with my 40 ounces. And I can always find some way to carry that on my body. And then I have the Sawyer Mini filter straw. This thing is one of my favorite straws. On my last BushCraft kit video, this was recommended by numerous people over the Life straw because it's a lot smaller and I can fit it in my kit. And so I'm glad people did that. It was very helpful. Thank you. And if anybody has any more suggestions, please leave them down in the comments. Anything you guys want to get off your chest or anything, leave it down in the comments. So Sawyer Mini filter straw. I have done a video specifically on this that you guys can go check out. It's one of my later videos around the time of filming this video, so go ahead and check that out if you want. And then I have some fat wood and a ferro rod. So fat wood and ferro rod kind of goes together. This is a 1/2 inch by 6 inch long ferro rod. This is one of my favorites. And then fat wood is resin filled wood. This is from, I think, a pine tree, and it smells pretty good. You guys can see the footage of me using this, a lot of different videos of mine. And yeah, so this is really good for fire starting, you know, just a redundancy of fire starting, more my backup. Then I have a garbage bag. The reason I started carrying garbage bag is because if I'm carrying litter that people leave around the forest floor, I don't want to touch a lot of it or carry a lot of it, and so I just put it in the garbage bag. And I carry a lot of garbage out of the forest so that other people don't have to deal with it, and so just litter and things like that, it's really not cool of people to leave that, but someone has to pick it up, and it might as well be me, I guess. And then another redundancy, this is a ferro rod, of course, for fire starting, but then it has duct tape all around it, so that I have, you know, my duct tape that I can use for things, and then in an absolute emergency I can take the duct tape off and use the ferro rod for fire starting. And then, of course, the duct tape can also be used for fire starting because it's flammable. So yeah, 2 ways of making fire right there. Paracord. This is purple paracord. This is what I use mainly for the bow drill. I like paracord over Bankline for the bow drill. It's just my personal preference. I think it works really well. I've used the same piece of paracord for over 50 different bow drills, and it's never worn out. That's not including failures. So I like paracord for the bow drill. And then I can tie all sorts of different things with this. I have a large Bic lighter covered in paracord wrap. So this just lights up. Another way of starting a fire. And then I have tape under this paracord that is also flammable if I ever needed that. Small flashlight. I think this takes AA, 1 AA. So you're not going to be able to see it very well in the daylight. But it's a flashlight, you know. Yeah. It's pretty bright. It's 3 watts, so it's actually pretty bright. And I just carry that in here for nighttime use. And then a big hank of Bankline. This is more of, you know, my backup to my other Bankline. I have this wrapped neatly because I don't use it a lot. I'm going to use the other stuff first before this. And so that's just what I carry in the main compartment. And that's about it. That's everything in the main compartment. Side compartments, besides the first aid kit. You guys can make your own first aid kit how you guys want to. And that's the whole kit. That's all of it. So I'm just going to talk about on the back. They're just Molly. Molly is webbing. And the reason I really, really love to have this on the back is I can attach all sorts of different things on here. Like if I have a folding knife, I can slide that folding knife right there, and it kind of hooks into the Molly, which is kind of cool. And then I have another fixed blade that can attach itself with a clip onto the back of this. It's my CFK knife. It just kind of clips onto the back, and then I can carry that and walk around with my fixed blade connected to my kit instead of on my hip, or I can have one on my hip and one on my kit, you know. and so it's just kind of cool to have that MOLLE here. I've also attached an arrow quiver for my bow on here. You guys have seen that in another video. I just attached it right onto the back of this MOLLE. So I think that's a really good thing to do. If any craftsmen are watching that makes gear like this, I'd put MOLLE on the back. It's very useful, very helpful, and I use it quite a bit. So that's the whole kit. So I'm just going to kind of go over a couple more things with you guys. So to kind of talk you through the mentality of this kit, it's something that I always take into the woods. Now, I may have a 40-pound backpack or just this kit. It doesn't matter. I will always have, or try to always have, this kit on me. So this isn't everything I use for BushCraft. I'm going to have a lot more items usually on my person and in a bigger backpack. But this is what I always want on me when I'm in the woods, you know. So I may have a lot more kit that I depend on, but this is stuff that I always want to have with me. And if I set my pack down at camp and I go off, you know, doing something else, getting water, food, wild edibles, or go on a small hike or something, I'll take this with me, and then I'll have my belt knife and my canteen, some other items in my pockets. So it's just kind of a kit that I always have with me, and that's just kind of the mentality I have it. You know, I always want some way of making fire. I always want some way of making good, clean drinking water to purify water. I always want a first aid kit. I always want just, you know, normal things. And that's what I want this kit to be able to. I always want a way of sharpening my knife if I have to. I'll have a more sharpening implements in my backpack, but I can always drop my knife on my strap here. And so it's just something I always want on me is a way to drop my knife, a way of water, getting water, food, fire, everything like that. And then one thing I carry on my belt usually, not always, but usually, is my catapult, or my slingshot. And I made a Paracord holster for it. It just goes right on my belt. And then I've done several videos on this. You guys can go check those videos out if you'd like. It's just a fun piece of kit to have, and I like practicing with it. I've done no hunting with it. I probably won't anytime soon. But it's just kind of a cool piece of kit to have, and it's fun just to plink around with in the forest. And so I just sort of carry that on me on this belt holster I made for it. So the knife I want to talk about today is not my belt knife. You know, you can see other videos where I've talked about that. It's not all that important to me right now. The knife I want to talk about is my folding knife, because this is a knife I always have on me, whether I'm in town, in a city, or in the woods. You know, this is a knife that I always carry with me. It's more my utility blade, and it's made by Benchmade. You can see the Benchmade logo. It's got the special Benchmade lock, and this was given to me. I didn't pay for this, it was given to me as a gift. And I've had this for about 4 years now. I have carried it for about 4 years. It's served me extremely well. I've used it on tons of different projects, and I've always just kind of had it, you know. And it's just one of my favorite knives. Served me well over 4 years. It's easy to sharpen. I have no problem sharpening it. I'm not great at sharpening a knife, but I can get a very razor sharp edge that'll save the hair right off my arm in about 15 minutes on something like this, or less. And so it's just something I always carry on me, something I really like to use, and just a fun knife that I have a lot of fun with, you know. And this is just something I always have on me. I don't always carry a fixed blade, but I always carry this folding knife, always. And so I think that sort of rounds it up for this video. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Anything you guys want to leave in the comments, go ahead and do that. If you guys have suggestions on what you would take out and replace, anything you would add on, I want to know what you guys carry. If you guys have a YouTube channel, make a video, tag me in it, I'll probably watch it. I read all the comments. I'll try and watch any videos you guys put out. If you guys want to do, you know, notify me with anything, any information you guys have on my kit, what you'd change, what you'd put in it, what you'd take out of it, what would you use, what would differ in your kit from my kit in your climate. do you live in a different climate than I do? Because I live in a cold winter, warm summer climate with lots of rain. Not particular this year, but usually about 220 days of rain on average. And so this is the kit I carry. That's why there's a lot of fire making implements in it. And so, just like to thank you guys so much for watching. More videos out soon, and talk to you guys later. See ya.